All right, guys, welcome back to the Biggest Guys Locker Room. Episode is the Touchdowns and Trash Talk. I'm once again joined by Big Time Shaun. What's going on, big buddy?
Another day, buddy.
Another day. Man, fantasy football was something else this weekend. What'd you think?
Oh, I'm living the upswing, buddy. I went 2-0, and correct me if I'm wrong. I played you and smacked that.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you played me. We played each other in Dynasty, and you did smack that butt. Yeah, you did. It was brutal. It was. I look at my team and I'm going, man, am I going to get any points out of anybody? I didn't get any big games out of anybody. It was kind of like, what was it? I think the biggest score I had was James Conner this week. That was not good.
Yeah. 23 out of Connor. That's not a.
It's not going to
help much.
Yeah, it's not going to give me the W on the week. So me and George playing for last place in the first overall pick he drafted for our Dynasty League. That is for sure. The good thing is Team Natan is faltering here in the Dynasty League. And he's now 5-5 going into the next week. So things are starting to right themselves with the world.
Yes. Natan is faltering a little, stumbling.
Yep, he's stumbling a little bit. But I'll tell you what, man, Lee's really taking control of the Dynasty. He's at first place, looking pretty strong.
He's doing rather well. He's at 7-3. He's scoring 130, 145 points on total, consistently. So
yeah, I mean
I think he's gonna have to change his name from Rooks.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's holding on strong. I mean, he didn't have a great fantasy week, but it looks like Phantoms there. Ryan has just really struggled, and he barely got over the 100-point mark, so he didn't have a whole lot going on.
Yeah, when you got Lamar putting up 50 for you.
Yeah, it's
don't need a whole lot from everybody else. Just getting the teams, and you'll be okay.
He had let's see what the Rooks had. Lamar Jackson going, and who knew that was going to be the highlight of fantasy for the whole week? Because that was the fantasy game of the week when Thursday night. So Sunday was kind of disappointing.
Sunday was disappointing. I enjoyed the Monday night game. Just through watching the field goals.
Yeah. They did nothing for anybody in friggin' fantasy. Did nothing. If you had anybody going, you were just highly disappointed unless you had the kickers in.
Right.
Take a look at the redraft league. How'd you do there? Did your streak? Your streak got broken. Did it? No, you won. You
won, buddy. I'm winning.
You pulled off the victory and beat Team Natan. Yeah, baby. Man,
it's like I said. The ship's righting itself. I mean, 4 more wins and 4 more losses by the top 5. Hey, I'm back in this game.
Yeah, you're back in it, buddy. You're back in this, buddy.
I go 5-0, and some stuff happens around. So don't sleep on me. Don't sleep on
playoff teams right now. The playoff teams are all 5-5. I mean, Steve is at the top of this list. I can't believe that. That's just nuts. I mean, RT always puts a solid team again, but it looks like Team Natan now. What is that? Is that 3 in a row he's dropped?
It's 2 in a row. 2 in a row he's lost.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
He's slowly sinking, I think.
Yeah, he's slowly getting back to normal there. He did pick up Derek Carr this past week. Derek Carr surprisingly had a good game, but he didn't have much going else.
When Derek Carr outscores CJ Stroud, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. It's just it was a rough week for some of the studs that you thought were going to happen, but it didn't pan out for a lot of teams. You knew Hurts had a good game, but you'd expect more to CJ Stroud. That whole game, no matter who you played in that Houston Detroit game, it didn't really pan out too well for you.
Yeah, well, that was you got Fairbairn, you're hitting 3 out of 4 50-yarders, but other than that, I mean,
yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah, that was rough. I mean, Fairbairn even missed one late, that 58-yarder that he missed late, which they had him in one of the other leagues, and it's a heavy penalty when we miss kicks. That was brutal. So that one hurt me. I think in the big league, I had Jamar Chase and still lost.
Yikes!
Yeah, that's how bad my team did this week.
That one's rough.
Yeah,
that one's rough.
Yeah. To have Jamar Chase and lose that week, that was pretty brutal. Nobody did anything else on my team. It was a struggle.
Who has Jamar Chase in the redraft league?
I don't know, to be honest.
I mean, it's Blind Squirrel, who has Burrow and Faith.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why he put the 230 up. Yes. He put up the smackdown on Nick, which we love to see on this show. We love seeing Nick struggle and suffer. It makes
one of these days we're gonna have Nick call in and be like, just hear him rant for 5 minutes.
I'm trying to get him on a Friday or a Saturday. It's a little tough with his schedule. Tuesday he's got his exec meeting, so he's got to meet with a bunch of the big wigs. So he can't step away, unfortunately, on Tuesdays. That's the hard one for him. But we love to see the old Mets fan have his moments during the season. So he's 5-5 on the year, still in the playoff in the redraft league, of course. But yeah, Blind Squirrel did put the whooping on him. Good old Ray and his second season playing fantasy football, put the smackdown on him. But I gotta give it to Ray. He had a strategy going into his draft. He was gonna get stacks, and if you notice, he always gets stacks when he wants to do his draft. So hey, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow. He's got Burrow, Chase, and the Eagles defense put up 40.
Yeah. He had a monster.
It's hard to survive any of that. So Good job, Ray.
The other team getting a smackdown this week was Kevin getting a smackdown from RT. RT put him in the ground pretty bad. RT put up over 200 points.
RT put up 212 to a 128 score.
Unfortunately,
me and Kevin are just not having a good year in the redraft.
Well, it's been one of those seasons where it's been like, I thought Murray was going to have a decent year, and he's turned out to have an up and down season, mostly down rather than up. He did have a decent game this past week, but it's hard to count on him. Of course, he's got Tua in the redraft, and like we talked about before the show, Tua looks like it's a lot of 3-step drops and get rid of the ball. So
they're not letting him do anything remotely like he was doing last year.
No,
especially coming back off this injury. Maybe in a few games and to make sure his head's right, but I think it's too late in the season for them to be trying to push forward. So it's going to be a lot of 3-step. Let's get the ball out quick. Let's hit the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hit the back out of the backfield. Like Achane had the most targets, but only had like 50 yards on the receiving end. But I think he had like 7 targets, and it's just insane.
Yeah, it's not going well for the Asian sensation, unfortunately. He's struggling. He's like us. He's both struggling in the redraft and the Dynasty League this season. Not doing well in either or. So, that's all right. Still some games to make up when nobody's out of it. The injuries just keep piling up for everyone. So, speaking of injuries, let's get into our next discussion. Dak Prescott. What kind of ass bag of a season did he have, huh?
As soon as he got paid, he just said, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah,
it's like he's just like he went to the way of any quarterback that's gotten paid, like Jamarcus Russell got paid, and then he's like, "Nah, I don't play anymore. I'm good." Tyler Murray came out and got paid in that contract. He's like, "I want to play Call of Duty."
Yeah, he was like, "COD's out. I'm done, baby."
Any quarterback that gets paid before the season starts instead of after the season, their whole season's just shot. It's crap.
No, what do you think? Because remember, I think we talked about it on the show with Dak Prescott, his running being so far down compared to other seasons. Do you think this kind of was lingering, and it finally just popped, or maybe he was just hiding it to try to get that contract, and once it did, it was over?
Well, when he had that ankle injury, I think is when he started stopping his running as much as he used to. When they came up and said, we're going to have to do the ankle surgery, I think that still weighs on his mind some. He makes business decisions like, I'm not going to go. Yeah, and then what really hurts them is they don't have a running back. They don't have a true running game. So nobody's afraid of their play action, and their linebackers can stop their old ass running backs. So they don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
They just keep their safeties back and double team CeeDee Lamb, and they don't really have a slot, and they don't really have a number 2. So they need all the help they can get. I mean, I don't see where they're going to salvage any season. I was listening on the radio today that they were saying that CeeDee Lamb may even drop to like a wide receiver 3 coming in with Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I could definitely see it.
Unless he just comes in and just targets CeeDee Lamb 15, 20 times a game when they're throwing the ball. I don't see any upside to even having him on your team right now.
Yeah, that would that's a huge hurt to a lot of CD Lamb owners out there. I know. I don't think I got him in 2 and 8. I think I got him in 1, but yeah, it's definitely the same kind of effect that Tyreek Hill has. When Tua was out, you were almost not wanting to put him in your lineup because you just knew it was going to be dog.
Yeah. Well, so this is like when CMC, everybody drafts CMC first. CeeDee Lamb was like the number 2.
Yeah.
And you're going to get no production from those guys. So it's just a throwaway pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's hurt a lot of people. I mean, if you were picking in the top 5, I don't think it's really worked out for you this season, to be honest with you. I don't think the guys that were going in those top 5 ranges really panned out this year. In my mind.
Yeah, I don't.
But, yep. I mean, Dak Prescott going forward. Now, what do you do? Say you have him in a dynasty league. What do you do? Do you move on from Dak? Do you just let him go?
Well, in our league, in our dynasty league, we don't have an IR spot.
Mm-hmm.
If we had an IR spot in our dynasty league, I'd say just stash him there. But if you're still vying for a playoff spot and you're worried about, in our league particularly, we have four spots. You almost can't hold on to him.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to drop him because somebody else is gonna get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of season left, so
yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I would say I'd say try to float him to a bottom team that's not gonna make the playoffs this year, maybe.
Yeah, that needs quarterback.
Yeah, or that's gonna need a quarterback, or just just drop him and hope. I mean that you can pick somebody up that's feasible. I mean that's viable for the next season, or draft somebody, or that the person that you drop him for pans out long term.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting going forward with him because especially if you're only playing in a 1 QB league, non-super flex, just a traditional setup.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hang on to him. I don't know if he's going to be viable as a valuable pick. If and you're wearing a 10-team league, you're looking for the top 10 quarterbacks. I don't think he's in that mold anymore.
After the last year he was.
Yeah, last year, that was the second half of the season that did it for him. Because the first part of the season he was dog, and then the second half was much easier schedule for him. It was a fairly easy schedule for a quarterback, and he really dominated that part. Going forward, especially with Washington getting better, you're playing them twice. I don't know if he's going to be great in that division because that division is going to keep improving. New York Giants are terrible on offense, but their defense has held their own. It's not a bad defense. Commanders, like I said, have gotten better.
I don't think the Giants' total offense is that bad. They got a couple of receivers, and that Tracy kid at running back is showing up.
Yeah,
they need a quarterback. They need a quarterback that's even halfway decent. They're going places because that defense is good.
Yeah, that defense is solid. And of course, you're playing against Philadelphia, who, of course, is going to try to run the score up on you because their defense is dog. But I don't know. I don't see him being a reliable top 10 QB going forward after this season.
Honestly, they should have traded him. Hindsight's always 20/20, but I've been saying for the longest time they should trade him and pay their defensive guys because they still can't hold on to Micah.
Yeah,
they still got to get that done.
They still got to get that done. And I hate to say they got some good corners there, but I mean they're always hurt. Diggs has been hurt the last couple of years. Bland's been hurt.
Yeah, and they're 25, 27, 28 years old. They're getting
they're getting to that point where they're going to start losing a step here. Yeah. So,
or they'll be starting to think about moving them to safety.
Yep. Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. We talked about a little bit about it. What did you think of that Thursday night game? I thought that was the highlight of the week. Of course, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow going nuts and still ultimately losing the game.
I think that's an instant classic game.
That is.
I think that's going to be replayed on NFL Network and they're like, it's top 10 of the seasons. It's the amount of offense explosion was just sick.
Yeah.
And then, it was just back and forth. My favorite part was when, Baltimore scores in like 3 plays on a, just random score. And then the Bengals come back and just hit a 75-yard bomb to Chase. I'm just like, what?
Yeah. That was crazy.
It was fun to watch. It was fun to bet on because I was betting on a little bit, but it was just one of those really good games.
Yeah.
You didn't expect Tucker to miss an extra point ever. And that happened. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's he's been off. He's been off this year. I think this, it's kind of similar to a lot of those. You had the kickers for like Gostkowski and I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
They were just automatic, and all of a sudden it went off a cliff like that. And I think that's where Tucker's starting to get to that point where he's falling off. It hasn't looked clean this year.
He's what, 41, 42?
I have no idea. I know he's up there. I don't know if he's in his 40s yet, but I know he's definitely up in his later 30s.
I'm almost sure he's 40.
Is it?
But yeah, you're completely right. He's Mr. Automatic, and all of a sudden he's like slowing down. Maybe I don't.
You're holding.
It doesn't seem like his timing's right there every time.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
The main mistake that I realize I'm not more than quarterback or whatnot, but the thing that I thought that they messed up on is the Bengals should never win for 2.
The
Ravens are not the Chiefs, and you had been stopping them all through the first half. There's a good chance that you can make them have to kick a field goal, or you stop them outright if you don't get the ball back on the flip. But they were not stopped. The Ravens were not stopping you consistently all game.
See, I like that going for 2, especially on the road. If you're at home, I'm not going for it. I'll take the time playing overtime. But if I'm on the road, I think I'll go for the win. I think I would try to go for the win on the road.
And I see it, I understand, but it's one play to score.
Yeah.
Versus, your offense was clicking. Don't get me wrong, your offense has been clicking all game, but it's one play. Somebody only has to come up in one time and the game's over.
Yep.
And the refs didn't help them. There was like three missed penalties on that play.
There was some penalties on that play for sure.
Just, there was a hold in the end zone. There was pass interference on the guy. They threw the ball, and there was a slap to Joe Burrow's face mask.
Mm-hmm.
So that was some crap. Which again is why you don't go for 2 when.
I don't know. I like going for 2 if we're on the road. I just say, listen, put the game in. I'll put the game in my quarterback's hands. I mean, listen, that Bengals defense is not that great, and I'll take my chances of avoiding Lamar Jackson.
Right, I understand, but even if you're going to put the ball in your quarterback's hand, you put the play to go to Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's the part I didn't understand.
Yeah,
that's what I didn't understand. The play should have been designed to make Chase go get the ball. Get it to your best receiver. Get it to your best playmaker. Even if it's throwing it up and let him go get a 50-50 ball. I don't care. Put it somewhere where he can get it and go make a play on it. That's why
it could have went to either Chase.
Yeah, because Chase Brown was doing well, but yeah, I mean, if I'm looking for Jamar Chase first. That's my first read, and if he's even got a remote shot at it, I'm tossing it there. And that was kind of, I think that was kind of where Burrow messed up. I think when he goes to the backup tight end, that it wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the play call.
Right. That play right there, I guarantee is meant to go to like T. Higgins.
Yeah.
That 2-point conversion play is supposed to go to T. Higgins. And unfortunately, the dude's hurt. So, again, should not have went for 2.
Yep. Well, all right. So, big topic, especially in that game we talked about, Chase Brown. The running back situation in fantasy has been, I don't know, interesting this season. I'll just put it that way. Very interesting.
It's been definitely surprising.
Yeah. What do you think is the state of the running backs? If you're going forward, are you changing your running back strategy going forward for fantasy in the next, say the next year? Because I mean, it's definitely up in the air who's going to have the bigger week when you have a running back by committee, and it seems to be just getting to that point where you don't have the workhorse running back anymore. I mean, you may have 3 or 4 of them that's left.
Yeah, there's Derrick Henry, but he's got Keaton Mitchell behind him and Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
You got Jonathan Taylor, who's really the only one running back in Indianapolis since.
But if you looked at it this week,
Richardson.
Goodson was in there on certain plays, especially when they were wanting to throw the ball.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a fully, hey, it's your show. Here's 3 downs, and you're either going to get it or you're not. But I mean, they were sneaking Ty Goodson in there a lot this past week. If I noticed.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Jonathan Taylor still had like what 25 carries and
Yeah. I mean,
he's still your workhorse.
it's because your quarterback's 40-something years old, and the guy you drafted's dog crap. Like,
Your other quarterback is 21 years old, doesn't know how to throw the
you
ball.
drafted Tim Tebow. You made the same mistake that the Denver Broncos did, going, he's going to be great. No, that was wrong. Yeah. The guy's a bigger version of Tim Tebow is what it was. I mean, actually, I think Tim Tebow was a better quarterback, to be honest with you.
That kid they need to make that kid have a position change.
Yeah.
Like real fast.
Yeah, I don't see it happening for him as a QB. I mean, he can throw the ball a country mile, but he can't hit the broad side of a barn.
Yeah, he's not an NFL quarterback.
No, and I don't think you're going to get him there, unfortunately. So, but I mean, as far as running back situation, go ahead.
I like the younger guys when it comes to the because those guys seem to have more of a split skill. They're running backs, but they've learned how to catch the ball. Because it's become a necessity to learn how to catch the ball. You're not just going to have the bigger 3-down back and just go anymore. You have to have a dual skill set. So, like personally, I love Chase Brown. I love Tyrone Tracy Jr., Saquon Barkley, any of those guys that are known to be able to catch 30, 40 balls and still put in 15, 20 carries, CMC, Swift, those guys. I think that is where you're wanting to move forward in Dynasty or in any fantasy format.
No, I like it. Yeah, whatever's going to keep the guy on the field the most. Like, I don't think look at Miami's situation. I mean, if they could, they'd play 4 different running backs. They would.
Well, they have Mostert, they have Achane, and then they just drafted Jalen Wright, who's the exact same running back as Devin Achane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if that kid I don't even think he's hit the field yet, or maybe 1 or 2 plays, but he's the exact same.
Oh, he had some run. He had some run on there in their. Well, I wouldn't call it a game. That was kind of a defensive matchup. But yeah, some run over there. They were trying to get him the ball, but just nobody wanted to play offense in that game.
I almost want to say that the running backs like those guys, they want to try to make them into slot receivers as well.
Yeah, no, that's true. You get them in motion.
You run the end rounds. You got them on quick flares, and they're fast and they're scat backs, and you just go. So I kind of see what they are doing in Miami. They just need a quarterback that's not going to die on the field.
Yeah, it's going to, I mean, like we talked about, I just don't know. Like, I can't trust anybody on that Miami team, unfortunately.
Yeah, they need to get rid of all the offensive linemen, start over.
Yeah, they got to start that one over. But yeah. So coming to the point, we talked about the Giants a little earlier. What's your thoughts on Daniel Jones going forward? What's New York going to do with him the rest of the season?
He's got a $27 million automatic cap hit if he gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
This is their bye week. I think this is where they get Drew Lock ready, and we don't see Daniel Jones ever again in New York.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I thought Deebo would be gone, but talking with Nick, our local Giants fan, he knows that the Mara's a little more generous most of the time. They don't like to make those in-season quarterback coaching changes if they can avoid it. So yeah, he was right on that one. I thought for sure they would have fired Deebo right out of the gate. It's just been like, yeah, you're done.
I don't think it's Dabo's fault. I honestly don't think it's Dabo's fault, and I don't think it's Joe Shane's fault either. They were stuck with a crappy situation on what they had to do with Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
And they were stuck with a crappy situation on we can't trade Daniel Jones, and he's good enough to be on the team, not cut. So, and then when they picked Malik Neighbors instead of taking a quarterback, they were kind of hand tied to that. But before Daniel Jones got hurt the first time, he showed promise.
Mm-hmm.
But since he's gotten hurt, he's been just
yeah, he has not been great. Fantasy wise, he's usable, but I mean NFL quarterback, no thanks. I think I'll pass. I think you got to go with Drew Lock and see if.
And then that's that's not saying much when you say, "Oh, I think we're going to go with Drew Lock."
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my
yeah,
God, they're going with Drew Lock.
it's not saying much. It's definitely not. But Drew Lock showed some up in Seattle last year. He showed some
Well,
good throwing ability in certain situations.
he's always had a big arm.
Mhm.
I mean, he went to Missouri. He's always had a big arm. He stands in the pocket. He's not going to move much. So you're going to get a lot of 3-step drops. You might get a little play action on the 4. Malik Neighbors is going to get a lot of across the middle work. With Slayton and Wandale Robinson are going to run those deep posts and goes.
Wandale's look good. I've been surprised. I talked about him early in the year as a big waiver wire pickup, and he's looked solid all season long. I mean, especially if you're in a PPR league, I think he looks fantastic. It's over 50 catches. Hey, I'll take that any day of the week. Just very much you were picking that guy up. You were picking that guy up waiver wires in week 3.
Yeah, I think everybody picked him up off the waiver because everybody was expecting Malik Neighbors to just ball out, and what he wasn't doing well, and he got hurt. So,
but now
what's up?
No, I just think with Daniel Jones, I think he's had his shot. He's had his moment. There was a couple, what was it, that flea flicker play? I was watching that. You had 2 guys wide open, and you don't throw the football? How? What was you thinking? I'm like, that was it. You knew as soon as he flea flicked it, you were supposed to throw that ball. You should have known where you were going with that ball before the play happened. And you had 2 guys wide open, and you don't throw it to either one? It's, I can't. The guy plays scared, especially when he's throwing the ball. And I think you got to move on and see what you got in some of these other guys, especially Drew Lock, because he's still young enough to be a viable quarterback. So if you don't see something maybe in the draft and you think that, hey, he can run the system, maybe you can buy yourself another year. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Daniel Jones has got to go. I think you got to sit him on the bench.
I am 100% against not having Drew Lock be your starter for next year.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think he should. But like I said, he's one of those guys where he's just young enough. And then you go, all right, you can run somewhat of the offense and get these guys. Because, listen, these receivers are small. So you're not going to be throwing the ball deep a ton. I mean, Malik Neighbors is your big receiver. Everybody else is tiny. I mean, what is everybody 5'10" and below other than Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, I think Robinson's 5'9".
These guys are 5'10". It's like throwing to
it might be 5'11".
Yeah, no, I don't think he's that tall. I think he's probably 5. I think everybody last year when they brought everybody in, I think everybody was 5'10" and lower, and they pretty much got the same receivers besides Malik Neighbors. It's like throwing to the lollipop guild out there.
Unfortunately, they don't run as fast as Tyreek.
No, exactly. So I mean, if you're going to run this offense, it's got to be short passes, move the chains, and run the ball. Can Drew Lock suffice in doing that well and at least give you chances, especially with that defense, to win games?
Yeah.
So that's just my thought.
I think they're going to load the box because they've seen that the Tracy kid, the running back, is putting up 100 yards in the last 3 games. They're going to start walking the safeties down to try to stop that. They're going to make them have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So they're going to see what Drew Lock's got. Is my guess. I mean, I don't think they let Daniel Jones play again. I wouldn't let Daniel Jones play again, especially if he gets hurt again. I owe him $27 million. No, thank you.
Yeah. No. So no. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you got to move on. But all right, we got one more thing to talk about. We got a couple of receivers. I want to know who you're more surprised by and who you'd rather have going forward for the rest of the season. Okay, we got 2 guys, Juwan Jennings and Calvin Ridley. Listen, everybody goes, oh, Calvin Ridley, he's a number 1. Yeah, but there's no quarterback there. Juwan Jennings, probably not the go-to guy, but he has a quarterback. So
I would take Juwan Jennings.
Okay.
Brock Purdy, I think, is second in the league with most yards passing per game. He just came off of 273?
I think it was like 350. It was like 350, I think.
Oh, good Lord. With Ayuk out and Samuel being hurt, just now coming back, and the rapport that Juwan Jennings and Purdy have shown the entire season, I think you got to go Juwan Jennings.
I completely agree. I like the upside of Calvin Ridley, I just don't trust the quarterback play there in Tennessee with Mayonnaise and Rudolph the Red Bad quarterback there, I just can't trust either one of those guys,
It was great to see Calvin Ridley finally look like he was like he learned it, like he remembered how to play football.
Oh.
And, they were throwing. They're like, "Oh, here, look, you can catch! Oh my God!"
It was bad. It's been bad to watch. And I don't know what to say, but yeah, I think I would rather have Juwan Jennings going forward. I think he's a better route runner. I think he's a smarter wide receiver. I think the bigger playability goes to Calvin Ridley, but yeah, the quarterback play is going to be the hamper there, and I think I'd go with Juwan Jennings.
I'm gonna throw a little monkey wrench on it.
Go for it.
Would you rather have Juwan Jennings right now or Hopkins?
Ooh.
Yeah. Would you rather the resurgence of D-Hop?
I think I'd go with D-Hop. I think just because D-Hop, I think you're going to get more red zone looks because, they don't have a ton of receivers there. And
was it 3 touchdowns in 2 games?
Something like that. Yeah. So I think I take D-Hop just because they're going to, Mahomes is going to want to give him the ball. They're going to design plays specifically for him. Juwan Jennings, I don't think you're designing that many plays. I think he's going to have some routes where you're like, okay, this is your first read. He might be the first option. But I think you're going to get more of those with D-Hop. And I think with Patrick Mahomes back there and the amazing amount of, calls he gets. And they just signed the referee squad to another 4-year contract to play for them.
They've got the 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Exactly. So I think I'm just going to go that route. I think with D-Hop for the rest of this season, yeah, I think I like D-Hop going forward more than I like Jennings. What about you?
Yeah, I am going to agree with you. I think going forward, just because of the looks and the special, one-upmanships that all the referees give the Chiefs, I'm going to have to say I'd have to take D-Hop. I love Juwan Jennings. Don't get me wrong. I love Juwan Jennings. I think it's a great breakout year. I think he's going to give the 49ers a headache whether they want to move on from him because they got too many receivers in the room now.
Yeah.
But they, looking back, they should have traded Ayuk.
It's either if you wanted to bring Ayuk back, you should have got rid of Deebo Samuel. You can't have both of them. You can't
get rid of Deebo Samuel. Are you kidding me?
I think you can because the guy's always hurt and he can't run. He's not a receiver. If you're looking from strictly receiver point, he doesn't create separation. The play's got to be designed for somebody to help him create separation. He doesn't get open as just a pure receiver. It's got to be
once he gets the ball.
It's amazing.
Magic.
Yeah, it's magic. But like I said, he's always hurt. When has he not been hurt? When has he played every game of the season? You're lucky if you're getting 75%. Yeah, you're lucky if you get 75% of the games out of him for the year. You call that a win? I don't know.
But it's he's still not. I can't.
Not for that price.
Get rid of Deebo.
Not for that price. Especially the fact you're not using him as much as a running back as you were before when you signed him to that big contract.
You get rid of Deebo. You have Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall. Are you kidding me?
I like Ricky Pearsall.
Your fans would have hung you out in the streets.
The better route runner is Ayuk. He gets open. Like the only thing watch Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel does not run routes well. Now once he gets the ball, you have to design plays and get him in space. That's because he can't create space. That's my point. So if it's late in the game and you have to have plays made down the field, it's usually not going to be Deebo Samuel because you're not throwing the ball deep to Deebo Samuel because he's not creating separation. That is my point. You have to get him on a 5-yard slant. That's it. That's where you have to get him a ball. You can't throw the ball downfield. He just doesn't get open, especially against man-to-man.
So he just doesn't have top end speed?
No, I just say his route running is terrible. He's not a route runner. Like I'm saying, he just can't create separation. He can't get open. He has to have somebody either set a pick or he has to run them rub routes. That's how he's getting open. He's not getting open on his route running ability. That's my biggest problem.
I I hear you. I still think there's 31 other teams that would rather have Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take the best ability is availability. And listen, you're questioning every week if he's available or not. That's just my point. And at that price and how much money you're paying him, you better be on the fucking field every play. Get your ass off the bench and go play. Let's go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring the fan out in you. It's a family show.
I'm telling you, then he makes a big play and he's over there sucking air like he's winded. I'm like, my God, get this man in the gym. Hit the treadmill.
He had the flu. He had the flu.
How many times are we going to use that damn excuse? He's had the flu like 3 weeks in a row. Big games, he gets that one by. Stop it. You're grabbing the nap. You're pushing my buttons. I see what you're doing. Let's talk about the Raiders a little bit.
No, let's not. They were on bye week. Nobody got arrested. No one got hurt. Easy.
It's a win in your book. That's the biggest victory of the season for you. Is that what it is? Nobody got arrested on a bye week.
They get to play Miami next week. Crosby may kill Tua. It's going to be the highlight of the highlight.
That might be the highlight of your season there. But yep. But anyways, man. Hey, thanks for joining the show, Big Shaun. Man, love our talks, brother.
Oh, anytime, man. I appreciate it.
And guys, please join us here every week for Touchdowns and Trash Talks. Every week, every Tuesday. Me and Shaun usually get together for Touchdown and Trash Talk. Join me every Friday or Saturday. We're trying to get Nick to come on we keep pushing his button to get him going on either on Friday or Saturday. But always follow us on our socials at Biggest Guy J and at Biggest Guys Live Room. Watch us on YouTube. Thanks for joining the show, guys, and we will see you guys in the next one.
See you next time.